Next on stage is going to be a panel discussion on the augmented workforce, humans and machines collaborating for success. And to moderate this discussion, we have Mr. Sundaram Subramanian, who is currently working with Expleo as Director, Software and Quality Engineering, and heads the digital practice for Expleo Solutions Limited. He is a veteran with experience from HCL, Infosys, Standard Chartered Bank. He has additionally also worked for major BF. He is also an expert in Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and machine language. May I request you to be on stage, sir? The first panelist is Dr. Anitha Raju, who works as the Vice President and Head of Human Resources at TNQ Technologies, Chennai. Dr. Anitha Raju is the Chief Advisor of Global Child Mission India and Advisor of World Peace Commission. She is the key member of Jammu and Kashmir Peace Foundation, Ambassador of Calligraphy Books, USA and Nari Shakti, through which she has contributed to women empowerment and prevention of sexual harassment. She has influenced and empowered the pride of women worldwide. She is an international speaker and moderator. Dr. Anitha Raju is listed as one of Asia's top 100 influential women and has won national award for her contribution to women empowerment. Further, she has also won the international title, The Most Inspiring Women on Earth, also recognized as the top influential HR leader of Tamil Nadu, and won several positions and awards for her social outlook and contribution. Can we please have you on stage, ma'am? And the next speaker is an astute human resource professional with 19 years of in-depth experience in the entire gamut of people programs and processes from renowned IT industry. Extensive exposure to manage change during acquisitions and mergers, building capabilities and talent during high growth phases, executing apt HR interventions. Mention anything under the HR umbrella, he is a subject matter expert in that. And please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Charles Godwin, HR leader from Zoho Corporation, on stage. Next on stage is going to be a passionate and result-driven human resources professional, Mr. Sam Zengelberg, who offers a proven track record of driving organizational success through strategic human capital management. Currently, he is serving as the head of human resources at Alumni, and Sam brings a wealth of experience garnered over 2 decades across diverse industries, including engineering design, banking, telecom, and utility services. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Sam, who is the head of human resources from Alumni. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining us today. So thank you, Dr. Renuka, for providing this support. I have been seeing you for a long time. You have been standing and doing this. Please see if you can sit and do this, actually, please, my request. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Dr. Renuka is a renowned expert in mine, so thank you for her support on this today. So with that thanks note, I want to thank NASCOM and NASTEC for this wonderful event, and this has been we have seen many good sessions. So this one is all about augmented workforce. So when we speak augmented workforces, what comes is cobots, Industry 5.0. So Industry 5.0 is all robots sharing the same space and working in this area. Similarly, not only the cobots and robots, it's also the co-pilots. That's basically like the software aspects of the shared workforce or the augmented workforce. So we have the pleasure of the industry leaders here from the HR perspective, how basically we foresee the kind of change and what basically would be the change in the area of Indian IT workforce, especially what basically would be the new scene when it comes to augmented workforce. So with that, we start this session today with the first question going to Anitha on how do you define augmented workforce, Anitha? Please.
Thank you, Raja. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this on such a special forum. So augmented workforce, most of us know what it is here. It's leveraging the advanced technologies to better the lives of the human beings or the workforce. So that's what it is in a very defined terms as such. To put it simple, bring machine and people together, and if that helps better their lives, that is augmented workforce. And to give you a clear example that all of you can relate to is, when pandemic hit us very hard, if augmented workforce as an approach, if that wasn't there, most companies would have been shut down and most people would have struggled even without salaries or jobs during pandemic. But at that moment, the need for flexibility in workforce and bringing people together, enabling the technology and making things work and making things continue for these many years after that, that is what is augmented workforce. Over to you.
Thank you, Anitha. Next question, I would like to pick you, Sam, for this. What do you think from the HR perspective as a mindset change that is expected for this new way of working with humans and the so-called machines or hardware, software, both?
Thank you, Raja. To change mindset, I think, is very, very critical in any aspect of the job that we take on. I'd love to take the example of Satya Nadella, right? What was his primary goal to change the mindset of Microsoft, right? It was through culture. And what was the prime understanding of how he was going to do it? It was from moving from knowing it all into
means point A, you reach point B, and then you realize that your destination has changed to point C, right? It's a never-ending journey that goes on. In preparation, when I was, brought to this topic of augmented workforce, I went around and I asked a couple of colleagues within my office, and I said, what's your mindset when it comes to augmented workforces? So some of them came up with the fact that technology really provides an opportunity for me to maximize my time utilization and the quality of product that I deliver. And it helps me to look at more strategic initiatives. There are others that came back and said, augmented workforce tech is just bound to take over the workforce,
and a lot more people are going to be left jobless. So we're just going to have to figure out creative ways of keeping our job. I learned one thing, and I think it's very safe to say that irrespective of whatever mindset you have, I think the reality is tech is here, and it is here to stay. It's just what kind of a mindset are we going to adapt to it. Now, from changing that mindset, Raja, I think it's very clear we need to understand something before we can accept it or change it, right? What is technology? You take AI. AI is nothing but bringing together various data points, data variables together till a particular point in time. And that point in time is nothing but till the present. Your AI is not going to be able to look at your future or predict it. Machine learning will evolve, but it still will revolve only till the present. So then what drives the future? Empathy, creativity, originality. Let's understand that it is us who have created technology. It is not technology who has created us. So I think to change the mindset, it's a very clear line between understanding where the technology's limitations begin and where human capabilities begin. If we are able to help everyone understand that, then the integration between machine and humans can really be something powerful that can work for the better for human race.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. So that's right, the mindset change. What I was thinking is that main thing is that we need to develop ourselves in order to be a relevant workforce for this current times and the future. So the future tech, that's what the NASSCOM's agenda today is going to be the future technologies and the future technologists. So either you be the technology creator, you be the technology inventor, trailblazer, or you be the early adapter, or at least adapt the technology and be the change. So the change mindset is basically the versatility, the adaptability. And how do you see this? Are you going to see this positive, or are you going to see this as a negative and shrink away and from the opportunity? So last time when we had all these standard photographs and then the analog photographs, all these people, they lost their jobs. All the studios lost their jobs. But people picked up digital photography, and digital photography that complete all the investments. They have to redo thing, and they have to adapt to the new change. A simple example. So now, if you see the cobots and all these cobots and also these co-pilots, no proposals we see that's saying that give me an estimate for this thing. They ask for 2 estimates, one with co-pilots and one without co-pilots. How many say no? You please raise hands, because all in tech area ask, do you know, can you reduce the efforts by co-pilots? That's the first question that comes in. So similarly, when it comes to cobots, Industry 5.0 is all about cobots, right? So what do you think as the way to upskill, or how basically, or how do you see the upskilling coming, Charles? What's your view on that?
For any change, it's very, very important to embrace, because today, what we enjoy in Swiggy or Zomato or Ola or Uber, because of the acceptance which we had from the community who have never been to school or college. So it's very, very important, when it comes to HR department, from my experience, from the friends whom I have worked with, when we ask a simple question during our interview, when we hire a HR guy, why did you choose this particular profession? Most of us, we say that, no, I'm good in people connect, right? I just want to stay away from technology. I just want to stay away from Macs. I just want to stay away from data. But today, if you look at any initiative, any decision, we really depend on data. That's one aspect. Just going back 10, 15 years back, when I was doing a HR generalist role, when the title turned from HR generalist to HR business partner, almost for 2-3 years, I didn't know whether I did something new, right? And after 3 years, I went to my HR leader, asked this question, am I really partnering with the business? Am I connecting with the client? Am I understanding, do I have some connect with, did I have a meeting with my client to understand what exactly my client required? And that's where it started, right? I had opportunity to work along with the CEO, to visit our client place as well, to have a seat in boardroom. Coming back today, every organization will have a HR system in place, right? How we use, how we adapt is the question. Most of the time we stuck. If we have a doubt, if there is a technical issue in our own HR system, we immediately call rather than exploring. The first message or the first lesson which I have learned today with all the automation, I think it's very important to try instead of calling, asking the tech support to help us. Right? Number one. Number two, it's very important to be open for learning. Right? Most of the times, HR try to stay away from technology. Someone will take care. No, I don't need to really get into. So that's very important. Whatever system I use, can I explore something? Right? Something new. The third and final important lesson, what I feel it's very important in this era, it's very important to collaborate. For example, no, I have 10-member team. No, I'll have 1 or 2 person from the tech background, right? Best way to collaborate. Number 2, I have my own engineering division. I have my techies in my own company. Why should I go and do a certification elsewhere when I have an expert inside? Right? So that kind of collaborations will help us to elevate our, upskilling, especially in this AI era.
Thank you so much, Charles. That's a good point that we have all it takes already in our own solution, in our organization, and try to refill or try to basically reutilize the solutions that is already presenting itself to you within the existing team. So learning is one of the continuous, it's basically it's eternal act we call. We have to learn every day. I learn every day, and that's one of the reasons that we say that we are living. Actually, it's we learn and we live. The main upskilling part that I see is that, as Charles said, is the ability to be open and keeping our eyes and ears open for this. When these new technologies come up, let's not shy away from it. Let's encounter the technology and ensure that you are not shying away, or you are not withdrawing from the technology or withdrawing from the situation. You confront the technology and learn it, and or at least come to the consensus whether is it actually you have put your best foot forward to learn it and understand the technology, and either shake hands with it or turn back. So it's up. You choose a different job, because any technology like this will offer you a new thing. Now we call it prompt engineering. In a year ago, since November 2022 only, I've been hearing this technology called prompt engineering. This technology was nowhere found in the even dictionaries in the past. So now there are JDs which are actually popping up with the word prompt engineers and prompt specialists who are basically using the Gen AI. So how do we use the Gen AI? How do I basically come to terms with the new ways of working, knocking our doors, our home doors now? You work from anywhere. So how basically adaptive you are is going to decide how successful you are going to be. Thank you, Charles, for that. Yeah, Sam.
Raja,
please.
if I can just quickly add to that, from an upskilling perspective, I think every organization has started introducing technology in various aspects. But from an augmented workforce perspective, one of the key areas, when you're either hiring or when you're upskilling within the organization, 2 key areas to look at. And I'll just give you that very quickly with an example. You put in Google Maps, destination A to destination B. It gives you 3 different options to go from destination A to destination B. But which one do you choose? I think there are different people that will choose different options. Some might choose what's the quickest way to get there. Some might choose what's the shortest time or the shortest distance to get there. Some might say, forget both of those. I don't mind long time. I don't mind the distance as well. As long as there's no traffic, I'm happy to get there. The jobs like prompt engineering, this is where it's coming from. Excuse me. It's about how you think, right? It's about how are you designed to look at what the needs are. That's something that AI is it's very difficult for AI to provide back to you, right? What is the empathy that is required? What is the innovation, the creativity? What's the originality? Someone like a prompt engineer will ask the right thing. Whereas a layman, if you go to AI, Raise your hands if you've used AI in this room. That's very little. And we're in a tech forum, guys. But
No, they may not realize that they are using AI.
Using AI.
Yeah.
but
When you use the maps, Google Maps, you are using AI. Because if you see that, once upon a time, it was actually very, very slow and stuff. And now look at Google Maps, it has come up a long way. Sorry, that's basically a good
no,
example.
absolutely. So the Google Maps is like a classic example. So either we don't confidently know that we're using AI, or lunch was just too good and everyone's passed out and the afternoon session is just very difficult to take on. But either ways, what are we looking at? How are we asking? Now that's something that's very difficult. And this is something that I would urge everyone in their organization to look at people who think creatively. When you're hiring, when you're upskilling, when you're going to colleges and looking for them to take on board people, look at the person who's trainable in human nature versus just the person who knows coding to get the AI done. So from an upskilling perspective, this is very, very needed, where you look at human nature aspect of characteristics that they carry.
Thank you, Sam. So other topic that's basically what comes to my mind is that the responsible AI and the laws around AI, that basically what we are looking at. So Anitha, you have any thoughts on how basically responsible AI will look like, or when humans actually step back and the machines taking the decisions, who will be responsible for it, and what kind of, in fact, in the previous session, logistics, it was actually discussed, the visibility and the transparency is one of the major requirements for logistics, if I understood correctly. So like that, the same visibility and transparency, isn't it also very, very important for this augmented workforce? Because when the machines and the augmented workforce is taking the decisions, and the humans are standing by because they are not as fast as the machines, or they are not as knowledgeable as the machines, who will be responsible, and who will the law hold up when it comes to problems?
Sure. Thank you for that. And before I get into responding to this question, I'd also like to add one more point from the earlier one on the impact that it creates on people and the resistance they have in upskilling themselves. One important aspect that we need to address is people are showing resistance not because they want to be lazy, just because, they want to do it for the sake of it. There is a lot of fear. There's a lot of concern on displacement of their jobs. I think organizations will have to acknowledge that, address those points, and tell them why it is not going to replace them, whereas they are going to evolve and they are going to do much more better things to do. Like a teller in the bank at an earlier, stages, if you look at it, somebody who's highly qualified, okay, and knows in and out of the banking and financial aspects of it, sitting and delivering cash to the customers, that's the last thing that you would want them to do. Instead, today, they can sit and do better things that will align well with their education and their intellectual capability as well. So now I'll move to your question on responsible AI. Responsible AI is knowing that AI is not a replacement for human workforce. Having the human centricity at the heart and ensuring that there are guidelines, standards, okay, there is ownership, accountability that is there to ensure that it doesn't really hurt the human race. The civilians are not affected, and everything that happens behind the scene is for their good and for their betterment. So that is responsible AI. So when it comes to this, who's going to take the accountability? Who's going to take ownership? Yeah, I'm only using the product that has been made by the other company. So how do I know? Maybe I think that particular company should own it. Or the employees might say that I've shared the data only with you, not with that company. So now you take ownership. So how do I take ownership when I don't know what is the thought that went behind it? So if you really look at it, there are clear guidelines that are there in certain countries, and there are certain other countries where it is evolving. There are proposals on how to regulate this. So for giving focus to that and ensuring that there is very highest level of ethical standards built, in no compromise when it comes to the human values or the human workforce as such, I think that's what is responsible AI in my view. And because Raja, I mean, right, I know that even when we had a discussion earlier around it, he has a lot of, I mean, right, thoughts, he has a lot of knowledge, I mean, right, to share. So I thought, why should we always allow Raja to ask us questions? So as a twist, we thought, I mean, right, Charles and also, right, Sam and I planned during the lunch hour that let's just pose this question to Raja. Okay, to you, Raja, now. So, could you please, I mean, throw some light on the laws, regulations, and the compliance-related aspects of responsible AI and ethical
Sure.
AI?
So responsible AI, what I understood basically is that there are two sets actually. One is ethical AI, which is basically that whether the AI decision that is taken is basically ethical, because the first law in the robotics is do not harm human. So all the robots, if you see the robot standards are basically like if you look at Industry 4.0 and 5.0, the Industry 4.0 is more of automated workforce, which is mostly into automated robots like Cuckoo or robots which are actually robotic arms and stuff, which are basically like giant ones which move the car, which actually help you to put the wheels, or which pick and place robots and stuff. Then what comes in the Industry 5.0, which is the next stage, is basically the augmented workforce, or basically that robots working with the humans. So the decisions are going to be taken by the robots along with the humans. So when the decisions are being taken by the robots, of course, the transparency is going to be the main thing. That is where responsible AI comes into picture. So the decision tree, what's basically in any algorithms you would have seen, that how basically that me being a robot or me being an AI system, I drive from this point to this point, where basically like in a typical CNN, without getting a lot of into technology, let me just tell you from the decision, the data point, which is the cluster of all the data points on the left-hand side, and the decision to be taken on the right-hand side. In between is called what is called the CNN, or the convolutional neural network, or RNN and related networks, which is basically the AI system. So I see that when somebody says AI or DL, deep learning or machine learning, I see that as more as a neural network. Basically because using our symbiotic neural network only, we take the decision. Similarly, the computer takes the decision through CNN and RNN. So this left-hand side to the right-hand side, the data moving from left-hand side to right-hand side, every time it takes a path. And since our systems are still binary, meaning that it's not, we are still not into quantum computing, it's still binary, means ones and zero. So it has to decide whether it yes or no kind of. Yes means one, zero means no. So it goes from each and every layer. The decision goes from whether I take this branch or this branch based on the data, based on the influence, based on the what are called the ReLU and softmax and other basically the feature extracted, what are basically called the variables actually. So these variables, you take all these things. Now there are drives which basically records all these things. How did I deduce to this decision? So the responsible AI will throw a lot of light. It's more like called observability, people call it, or it's more of visibility. Come from this neural network. When I take the decision as a computer, you gave me this data point, I arrive at this point using this path. So this path can be verified by somebody. There could be some 4S checks also. Say I am taking a decision, and as a computer I am confused because it's not it's not actually, it's a probability always. Decision means it's a probability 0 to 100. So it's somewhere between like 50-50. Then there is a human involved. And this person has authorized it or approved it. So there is a 4S principle, make a checker rules. Those are also coming as part of the augmented workforce in Industry 5.0. And specialized decisions or overrides are basically most important things that are actually going to happen, which are called SMS, which is statutory mandatory stops, which are actually put in the robots, which you press a button or you have a kind of signal or you have a kind of like a sign language to stop the robot quickly. So, or voice command to stop quickly so that it doesn't harm the human. Or there are fences which are actually being created to ensure that the humans and the robots work cohesively without hurting each other. Because even if you disturb a robot, that's also going to cause a lot of problems from its what's called HAL and SAL, which is hardware in loop and software in loop. So without getting a lot of technology, getting into technology, the main thing is that the laws are evolving. The lawmakers are actually working on. If you look at it, until last two years back when I applied for this as DGCA, there was no rules, or there is no, I couldn't even apply for a drone license. So even for then the drone licenses have come, and now that super micro drones are free. I mean, like, they don't need to get a license. So the laws are in India also getting formulated. When you can fly the drone, which area that you can fly, which are the no-fly zones, like, say, for example, industry areas, or basically secure areas, or cantonment areas, installations, government or airports. So there are specific areas, specific localities you can't fly. You can't fly drones from this size to this size. So there are a lot of shadings have come up now. Instead of saying no, now the government has actually developed the law, and the DGCA is now based on that approving these drones. So like that, there are laws evolving over a period of time in approving these technologies, because now without them, it's going to be very difficult. These autonomous drones are basically this is also part of the workforce, augmented workforce. These autonomous drones can be very helpful in terms of, like, taking the blood to the right people. It's been tested already in some of the countries like Nigeria, where it is very, very difficult to reach out to certain remote places. The blood pockets or the blood units are actually delivered using drone. So there are lots of other abuses also, which I don't want to discuss right now, but the technology brings both sides. And the ethical A is basically about whether the decision made by the computer, can it be substantiated in a court of law? Can the decision taken by the computer or by the artificial intelligence be substantiated and proved that because of this data I took the decision? Because it's garbage in, garbage out. What you give is what you get. So it's receiving. So computer is not having any knowledge except you give the knowledge. And who gave the knowledge is going to be responsible for that decision. Sorry for the long answer. So, but any final thoughts that you have on any? Sorry.
I think, it's very, very important to be strong on our foundation, right? Irrespective of AI or whatever technology we bring in our every aspects of our life, in our HR role. I would like to give one or two classic example. HR's role is to impact employee, the community, country, the world on the whole, right? That's the prime. One classic example, today organizations are moving towards technology, right? Not really having their eyes and ears open to recruit talents who are just in front of them, rather than hunting in the platform. The second example I would like to quote is now during the performance reviews. Now I've heard from many HR leaders from my known circle as well. Most of the time, in the last 2 years, most of the time managers have used ChatGPT or AI to give feedback. Employees have raised their alarm, mentioning that I could read that, sense that, but I couldn't feel. Right? Human touch. So it's very, very important how we use, where we use, and have to be very, very cautious in terms of adapting AI.
Very good.
Number one. Number two, the final important lesson, what I believe it's very, very important for each one of us to remember. Just to give a classic example, in Zoho, almost 35 to 40% of our employees who have not gone through the interview process through the regular interview cycle. All right, I can give many examples. Just to quote one or two, I found a young champ in Pondicherry. He was working in a hotel during COVID. 10th dropout. He just had one very basic laptop with geo connection internet, that's all. Somebody said, no, you're good in mathematics, why don't you learn basic programming? He learned programming by himself without spending a single penny. Just with YouTube tutorials now whoever have suggested.
Wow.
He cleared our interview for an incubation, just 3 months training program. He left the job, he came and joined our company just for 3 months boot camp, nothing. Full-time opportunity is not guaranteed. He trusted us, he trusted his confidence, he joined the 3 months program. Today he is working as a software engineer in our company, competing with top engineering guys who come from the top universities. Another classic example, which came viral in media as well, Abdul Alim, who came from North India to Chennai for his survival. He was working as a security guard. He was working as a security guard in our company. One fine day, one of our manager had a casual chat. He asked, "What is your name?" He said, "Abdul Alim." He smiled and he said, "No, I see a spark in your eyes." And the second question that manager asked him, "What is your background?" I was just reflecting. No, if I was there, I would have told, "I am from Kastapurra family, sir." Right? Or I am from a rural background. He said, "I have learned Python, HTML, C, C++ during my 9th grade. I'm working as a security guard." Yeah, that's the background. Today, that same guy who was working as a security guard in the same building, working next to our CEO as a senior software engineer. If we really rely on technology completely, blindly, I think we'll be losing whatever the talents which I'm talking about closely 40%. As HR leaders, we need to really create an impact in every aspects of our life. I can give many examples. For example, Matram Foundation, who really give a value add for about 2,000 plus kids, right? It's not a CSR, just the heart to do something, create an impact. My final message would be, can we have our eyes and ears open in every aspect of our life to really create an impact in human?
Very good, very good. Good one. Thank you, Charles. That was really eye-opening that technology is not the only thing. And most important thing is that upskilling, that the talent can be anywhere. So constantly upskilling is the only way to face any challenges and make these distant foreign technologies more close to our heart and become expert in it. So one thought is that ChatGPT just ensure that your teams use it sensibly and sensitively, because a lot of information could be shared in the ChatGPT is one challenge, which is mostly the kind of information security issue. All of you may be aware, but this is something like maybe going and creating a lot of challenges in the future for your company alone, because it could be like a lot of information being shared which is unwanted. So that is one common problem. So technology always presents both advantages and disadvantages, and the ability to understand this and understand the challenges the technology brings and how to use the technology in the right way and how to upskill ourselves to the right areas to get into the newer augmented workforce would be a great opportunity. So I wish our Indian IT community picks up this augmented workforce as more of a friendly manner and excels it. And as always, we have been on the top of the world when it comes to IT. This time, the augmented workforces as well becomes more India dominating technology. So with that thought, we would like to close today's session. Thank you so much, panelists, for all your support. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your
Raja, if you don't mind, just one quick, very unconventional thing, right? And we are HR. So do me a favor, everyone just stand up. Why? We've been sitting here, and I'm pretty sure previous panelists have been sitting here before us and are looking into the crowd, and there is a lot of the eyes drowning. There's a lot of the trying to save yourself from being caught asleep, right? Which is getting up. Do me a favor. This is something that technology will never be able to do, right? Read the room, look at it. Very unconventional, I understand. Thank you, NASCOM, just bearing. Just shake the hand of someone you don't know around you. Take just 10 seconds. 10 seconds to shake someone's hand and say, "Have a good day." There you go. Next panel you'll be a lot more alive.
Thank you, Sam, for that. Really needed in today's context because we are all working from home. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And now may I request Ms. Deepa Madhavan, Vice President and India Country Head of Genesis, to felicitate our panel moderator and the panelists with a memento. Thank you so much.